welcome back to the show. You're one of my, well, you've been one of my favorite newerish artists for a while now.
Oh,
So
thank you.
super happy to have you back. And I debated about whether or not to ask you this question. So
Oh
I'm
gosh.
just
All
gonna do
right.
it right out the
Okay.
gate. And I hope it's not weird. I mean it respectfully. I want you to know that with
Oh
utmost
God.
respect.
I'm
I mean it.
scared.
Yeah. Don't be. But let me. I'm going to share my screen real quick because I think
Okay.
it's going to have to. I think it'll help.
Oh
So
gosh. I'm
this one here.
nervous.
So this
Oh,
image,
uh-huh.
you and Cassadee Pope, you
Yeah.
guys are friends.
Yeah.
You posted on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
a photo of you guys together. You're promoting your song Coma or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You guys look awesome.
Thank you.
So what I wanted to bring up was if we zoom in here,
Oh my God.
those abs,
No.
those
Oh my
are,
gosh. Ooh.
those look really good. Okay. So
Thank you.
what I respectfully, they look really good. So, and I
Oh
felt like I
gosh.
could bring this up because we did ask fans and whatnot to,
Mm-hmm.
submit your questions. And there actually
Mm-hmm.
were a couple people who were like, one person was like, "Do you lift, bro?" And
Oh my
then another
God.
person,
Mm-hmm.
I think, said they just wanted to know what your workout routine is. So we're just going to start right there
Okay.
because, so I'm going to stop sharing that now.
That's
Um,
hilarious. Oh my gosh.
so I do want to bring it up too, because one, I saw
Mm-hmm.
that picture. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I'm like, oh, look at those things. And, and I want to bring it up too, because I myself have started
Mm-hmm.
like taking, working out seriously since like
Mm-hmm.
February or March. And I've been really consistent. I've been really proud of
Mm-hmm.
myself. I
Mm-hmm.
have been working on my abs. I just want to have, I just kind of want to be tight, and I don't need to be ripped, but I just want to be
Yeah.
toned.
I get you.
And as I've gotten older, I'm a skinny guy. So I fat is not necessarily my problem, but I do have a little tiny like lower ab issue to where there's just fat there. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it and I want to get rid of it. And I've been
Uh-huh.
working really hard, Taylor, for like,
Mm-hmm.
well, since March. What is it? It's September now. So September's what, the ninth month. So let's do some math. So about 7 months, 6 to 7 months going hard. I Peloton, I do ab
Mm-hmm.
workouts, all the stuff. And my wife says that she sees a difference. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I want to know, what's your secret? Your fans want to know what
Oh
the secret
gosh.
is. Is it diet? Do you work out a lot?
Uh, I do. Okay, I'll just come clean. I used to bodybuild back in the day. I
Oh,
did
okay.
competitive bodybuilding, and
Nice.
so I really do. I love working out, and that's always been like a really big part of my life. And like also when it comes to my mental health, I feel like I feel so much better whenever I work out. I don't know. I mean, I lift a lot of weights, and I really don't do a ton of cardio aside from like shows and stuff
Okay,
like that.
sure.
Like I will go and I'll run and things like that when I'm trying to get in shape to be able to perform, but I don't know, they're just kind of there.
They're just kind of there. How unfortunate. But so I'm wondering if I just need to start
Mhm.
lifting weights, even though that doesn't make sense to me. You would think cardio would shred pounds.
Mhm.
And I know, and what I've heard is you can't pinpoint,
Mhm.
fat when you're working out. It just, you have to basically
Yeah.
work out everything, and it just kind of,
Mhm.
it all just dissipates from there. But what's your diet like? I bet your diet's got to be good then.
S-
We're
Um
going to narrow this down. We're going to find out why the abs are the way they are.
So when I'm home, I try to have like a pretty decent diet. Obviously, like I don't restrict myself from anything. Like if I want candy or something, which is like my downfall, like candy and energy drinks, probably the two worst things that you can have when
Right?
you're like on a diet. But I try to stay like pretty consistent with that, like just making sure I'm getting in protein and trying to eat clean during the week, and then I'll
Gotcha.
kind of indulge like here and there every
Okay.
once in a while. But I will say muscle burns fat. So like when you're trying to build muscle, it burns fat faster than like doing cardio.
Okay.
Because I guess like when you go to do cardio, your body kind of goes, I could very well be wrong. And if somebody is listening to this and they're like a fitness guru, I'm sorry. This is just kind of what I found from experience. But your body tends to store fat a little bit more than it would if you were like consistently lifting. But I don't know. Yeah, I love fitness and I love working out. I don't really have like a strict program that I follow. Just try
Okay.
to stay healthy.
Okay. So
Yeah.
work out, eat candy, and we should be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You guys heard it here first. So how do you stay accountable on tour though if you're trying to eat healthy? That's got to be tough, right?
That's really tough. It was really, really tough when we were in a van. Now we've been doing like an RV or
Sure.
something a little bit bigger because like from the very first tour, I'm sure when I first talked to you, our team has grown a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's a little bit easier because I can like go to the grocery store and I can store things in like a fridge, and
That's
so I
nice.
can make sandwiches or salads and stuff like that, which makes that aspect of like eating on tour really nice. But I mean, I I have a really hard time eating on tour just in general. I feel like if I eat before I perform, I feel just like, oh, like kind of
Sluggish
like,
or
yeah, a
okay.
little bit. It's kind of like the feeling you'd get before you go and you play like a soccer game or like you go run in a track meet. I feel kind of bogged down. And
Yeah.
so I think I find myself eating a little bit less, which probably isn't the best thing for me. But definitely since we've, been able to travel and in bigger vehicles and stuff like that, I've been able to take care of myself a little bit better than I would.
Yeah.
But
I guess as long as you have a stocked fridge, it keeps you from the drive-through
yeah,
at McDonald's and whatnot. So
yeah. And we stop at Planet Fitnesses like every
nice.
every night. We'll usually stay overnight at a Planet Fitness in the parking lot. And so that's really nice because I can like wake up and I can go work out and we can, shower, use the massage chairs, all that
Yeah.
good stuff. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
makes
And
it nice.
yeah, Planet Fitness is not sponsoring this video, but
No.
I guess we should probably talk about music because that's why you came on here. We're 9 minutes in and we've talked about fitness, but thank you for that though. So,
Of course.
okay, so let's talk some music. So you've been blowing up lately, I would say, since you last came on about a year ago. I'm not sure. I can't remember where you were at monthly listener wise then, but right now I checked today and you were at 1.2 million monthly listeners on Spotify. You got to figure it's got to be at least the same, close to the same on Apple Music. So from the outside looking in, I feel like, from what I see, it looks like you're on this rise and you're all over my feed. You've been releasing music like crazy. Do you feel the same sort of rise that seems to be happening for you that I'm seeing?
I do. I
Okay.
do. But at the same time, it's like, I think you and I talked about this before. I feel I'm like such a normal person when I'm at home. And so
Sure.
a lot of the times I like to disassociate myself from social media and stuff every now and again, just because it's a little bit healthier for me than like staying online and like watching all of the numbers and
Right.
everything and looking at all the comments. And so, but I mean, it's been really cool because especially like when we go and we play shows, there's a lot of people that'll come up to me and be like, man, I've listened to your music now and I love it. And we get to connect in that way, which is really cool. And it's just kind of on a different level than it was first starting out. And
Sure.
I feel like I've built like a really great fan base. And I don't know, it's been really, really nice.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say that I feel like I'm like on this huge incline, but I do see that there are some changes in like,
Yeah. For whatever reason, it seems like you've been releasing songs more consistently as of late. And I know you're leading up to that new EP that's coming out, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Yeah.
But it seems like you've got just a little bit more momentum right now. And hopefully with this new EP, that's just going to kind of just keep pushing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most recently, you released your single, Coma. The most recent version is with Cassadee Pope. I wanted to ask, because we had Cassadee on, it was like maybe a month ago, and she's super awesome.
She's the best.
She's
Literally the
really,
best.
really cool. Like, so cool. Like, I was talking to John, my co-host, afterwards. I was like, she could definitely fit in with our like friend group, and like she got our humor, which is just ridiculous. And
Yeah.
so it was just fun that we could just kind of be ourselves. And anyways, since Cassadee's got, she's been in the game for a long time. And she's been through the ringer, I'd say, because she was successful in her country career. And you, of course, have had your countryside. Can you talk about how Coma came to be, how you guys got this co-write together, and maybe how you and Cassadee connected and became friends in the first place?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm like such a huge fan of her. I've been a fan since the Hey Monday days. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
6 months was like one of the first songs I learned on guitar, if not the first one I learned on guitar. So I was like,
Wild.
obviously when I got to meet her, I was really excited. And like you said, she's just like an amazing person, just so easy to be around and
Right.
so funny and so fun. And her and I definitely, when we're together, we're like same energy vibes.
That's
So,
awesome. That's awesome.
but we actually got connected. So it was probably, oh my gosh, I want to say maybe like 3 or so years ago.
Okay.
When, I was kind of making my way out of country music, and, I think she was kind of starting to do a little bit of both, where it was like that mix of country and pop punk. And I was doing the covers, and I did a Blink-182 cover, and
Is that the first date one?
it was the first date
Yeah,
one, but it was
beautiful.
before, thank you. It was before I had like posted the one that had just like blown up,
Yeah.
So I had posted that video, and then she made like a duet to it. And
Oh,
obviously
wow.
I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. It's like one of my idols is
And this was
singing
before
a
you
song
met
with
her.
me. Yeah, this was
Okay.
before I met her. And then I had, kind of I really had to muster up the balls to be able to just like message her. I was like, should I just like cold message her and like ask
Yes,
if
you
she'd want to
should.
hang out or something? And I did. And then it had been like a few months, I think. And then she was able to get back to me because, I mean, obviously she's a very busy
Sure.
person. And so she got back to me and we kind of got chatting. And then we had scheduled the write for Coma. And it was just, it was a really cool moment. I think she was the one who came in with the idea of Coma.
Hmm.
And I had been wanting to write something similar to that for a really long time. I just really didn't know like the direction to go. And so she came in with that idea, and we just started to just like spitball off of each other, and it turned into what it is now. And it's just, we left that right. And I was like, I feel like I have a really great friend, and
That's awesome.
she's been that to me. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. So
Yeah.
how long ago was that when you guys sat down to write that
Oh,
song?
I mean, maybe like, I'm trying to remember when I put it out. I feel like time is just like going so fast, but
Well,
I
you
want to
put it
say
out.
maybe,
I could look it up real quick.
yeah, I think I can't remember like when exactly I put it out, but I think it was around maybe May, end of May,
Let's see.
maybe.
So the first version was put out on April 21st,
Okay,
and
yeah,
then the version with Cassidy on it just came out last month, right? Does that
yeah.
sound right? Okay. Okay.
So I think we had written it. We wrote it, and then I turned around because I was like, this song it needs to be out. Like this is
That's yeah.
the sound. This
Uh-huh.
is, I love this so much. I think it was maybe like four or so months
Oh,
before.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, our meeting and then like being able to actually write together, it took a very long time, but we kind of stayed in contact here and there, obviously internet friends and stuff like that. And yeah, it just kind of, it happened.
Well, cool. So I think this would be a good, maybe an insight question to give to people listening. As songwriters, you said Cassidy came up with the idea or came in with the idea of Coma. 4 months ago, she was definitely transitioning into pop punk, or she was already there at
Yeah.
that time. Is there a reason that song didn't go to her, or was it because her album was done at that time? How do you guys
She,
choose who gets the song?
I mean, that was a question that I had for her the day that we went in, and I was like, we can write for you. We can write for me. I would love to write for you. And she was like, no, we're writing for you. Like made it very clear. She's
That's
like,
awesome.
I have this idea and I want it to be yours. And then obviously, like once we finished it and I put it out, like I her vocals like were all of the harmonies.
Oh,
And
okay. On the
so, yeah, so
original,
she
even.
on the original
Oh, okay.
version. So, a lot of the vocals were the vocals that we had done that day, like first day we'd ever written it in the
Yep.
studio. And I just, I could just hear it in my head being a duet, but I was always afraid to ask her because obviously she's like an icon in the pop punk space.
Uh huh.
And she is a very busy person. And she, like, in retrospect, is way beyond me and years of being in this industry. And so I was really nervous. I was like, this is my idol. I don't know if I should ask her, like, would it be weird, or would she feel like I was taking advantage of, something that, she had worked really hard to get. And she was actually the one who came to me and was like, I think it would be a really cool duet. And I was like, thank the Lord you said that, because I was like,
That's awesome.
racking my brain, stressing about how I would ask you to do this. And I mean, it came together so seamlessly. And I think
That's awesome.
her vocals are just amazing. So
Yeah, both versions are great, but just hearing a duet, and it gives, anytime you hear a duet, it gives the song a little bit more depth and a little bit
Yeah.
more substance, I guess. And with what this song is about, it's kind of heavy, and hearing it from two different women at the same time, I think it just makes the message come off even stronger, because now you got two women speaking that truth or whatever that song has.
Yeah. And it was just, I mean, like I said, it was a really cool moment. And her vocals, I feel like, just added a new element to where it almost gave the song a new life.
Yeah.
Almost like it
Sure.
sounds to me like, kind of like you said, I love the original version, but this version, it feels right. It feels like it was supposed to be this.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that we did it this way the second time around, and that people are really liking it seems.
Yeah. And I think too, the fact that you two wrote it together, there was some energy that went into that song, and now the energy can come out the way it's supposed to, because both of your energies were in there, I guess. I don't know, that might be a weird way of putting it, but that's how I feel with music, is just music gives off this vibe. And I feel like that there's a vibe that's put into it, and then there's a vibe that comes out of it. So
for sure.
I do want to say too, you and Cassadee hooking up on this song, or just in general being friends, it does seem pretty fitting, because I think you and Cassadee are positioned extremely well, like, to make it into mainstream when it comes to the pop rock or pop punk sound, mainly because you guys have that country music background. You both come from that. And it appears to me that mainstream is might be in a weird shift right now, because and maybe starting to favor country music. Because I think just a few weeks ago, like, the top 3 Billboard 100 songs were country songs, which is like the first in like years.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is that, I've said it time and time again that you guys have the chops to, make something happen, because I think the storytelling aspect of songwriting is what makes music so relatable and, helps a song kind of live on forever. And because you guys have that knack, and that you can bring that over to the pop punk side or pop rock side, I think is great, because I feel like that's what pop rock and pop punk are missing when it comes to lyrical content. It's that storytelling, and it's easier said than done. And I know we talked about this last time you were on, but the storytelling aspect of country music is just amazing to me. And again, I think that's just why it's so relatable. And I think that's what can help pop punk, is if we get more of that storytelling. So
For sure.
yeah,
For sure.
so you're getting ready to release your 8-song EP titled Certified Depressant, off of the title track, named after the title track. It comes out September 22nd. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Is this your first EP since you were in country, or?
Yeah.
It is. Okay. So it's been a minute.
It's been like 7 years.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
And how many singles have you released since then?
Oh my gosh.
There's gotta be a shit ton.
There's a few. And then I had released that EP of like the cover songs and stuff.
Right,
I think
yes,
I had thrown
right.
like one original on there. But I've lots of singles since then. I just feel like you know, any time that I was like, oh, maybe I should put out a project, it just never felt right.
Mm-hmm.
And now it does. You know, I
Sure.
feel like I'm finally, one, making the music that I've always wanted to make. I'm two, in a much better place than I had been, you know, the last few years. And I, you know, feel like I've really found my sound and like what I want to say and who I want to be in this genre of music. And so I think it's time. 7 years
Yeah,
is a long
it's
time, but
it's
it's
time.
time.
Not
It's
only
time.
that, though, you've been releasing single after single after
Yeah.
single since that time. So
Hmm.
it's definitely time to put a collective thing together. So I
Yeah, for
have
sure.
listened to the EP. It is Taylor Acorn through and through, and I think you are right. You definitely have found your sound. Like
Hmm.
you've found it. You've honed in on it.
Hmm.
There are no stinkers on this EP either. So that's what's really cool. It's a
Thank you.
real it really is an easy listen, and
Hmm.
it's only 8 songs. By the time you hit the last song, I'm ready to hit replay. Like, and I'm
Hmm.
not just saying that.
Aw,
It really is really good. I'm
thank
gonna
you.
say right now it's going to be on my end of the year top EPs list. Like, I'm definitely going to be
Aw,
recommending it. So
well,
I
thank you.
I know your fans are going to love it. So
Thank you.
it does include 4 previously released songs,
Hmm.
and we're going to get 4 new ones.
Hmm.
I want to say, of the 8 that are on here, my favorite song
Uh-huh.
is Famous Last Words. And I think, were you teasing that
Yes.
today?
I was, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
So I'm glad that you're teasing that one, because that one, there's just something about it. You've released some bangers already, but this one is up there, I think, with one of your best. It has
Thank
a
you.
really good guitar riff at the beginning. It's very bright sounding,
Hmm.
solid melodies as
Thank
usual.
you.
And it does have the storytelling aspect that we were just talking about, which I
Hmm.
love. But
Thank
my
you.
absolute favorite part of this that stands out to me is the starting line callback in this song, the of their the best of me, the best of me
Yeah.
song. So you saying he turns the music down and she whispered,
Yeah.
which is very close to the lyric in the best of me,
Hmm.
and you sing it the same way. It stood out to me. And I was like, that is awesome. So, one, I have a question about that.
Hmm.
Was that a planned callback, or did it just kind of happen organically? Or what happened? How did that get in there?
So this song is very much, and you can probably hear throughout, like the way that I tell the story and everything, it kind of starts out from like the very beginning, you know, when I was a
Yep.
teenager. And when I think back of when I was a teenager, I mean, that song is like, was a staple to me.
Sure.
And so
Same.
it's just like the way that the whole song like was meshed together, and we were trying to think of a way to do the pre-chorus. I was kind of like, what if we did do a nod to like a song that I grew up listening to, that I feel like only people who listen to that specific type of music would get. Like
Right.
you love pop punk, so
Yep.
like you picked that up, and that makes me really
Immediately.
happy that you
Yeah.
did. Yeah. And so yeah, I'm glad that you like that part.
Oh, it stood out to me. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to say it made me more of a fan of you, because I'm already a fan of you, but it's just like, that's an iconic pop punk song.
Hmm.
And I don't know what it is about it, but it just like it drew me in even more for some
Aw,
reason.
well,
But
thank you.
yeah, I caught it right away. I was listening to it. I was like, okay. Like I said, I like the poppy sounding guitar riff at the beginning,
Hmm.
and I'm like, okay, I'm digging this. And I'm working while I'm listening to it, and then I hear that, and I'm like, oh, I'm writing that down. Like I gotta bring this up to her. So,
Good. Yeah.
but yeah, so you were trying to figure out the pre-chorus, so you just
Hmm.
thought maybe we should do a nod to the
Yeah.
starting line.
I just like, again, like the way that the whole song is structured and like the feeling of it, and it feels very nostalgic to me when I listen to it. And I think like of all of the songs on the project, it is my favorite song.
That's awesome. I
That
was
one
going to ask
and
what
Good
your
Enough.
favorite song is. So.
Yeah, that one and Good Enough, I really, really love. But I don't know, yeah, it just had such a nostalgic vibe and a feeling to it that I just wanted to bring that into it a little bit
Yeah,
more, and kind of nod to the music that I used to listen to when I was in my teens. So
sure.
yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about tours and shows.
Hmm.
You're getting ready to embark on your own headlining tour. That's got to
Yes.
be insane thinking about.
Mhm.
What can you tell us about that? It looks like it starts in November, right? Okay.
It starts in November. I believe it starts in Toronto. We decided to only do 7 shows because, again, like being very new in the scene and, kind of not kind of, but basically starting over from scratch, from being a country artist
Yeah.
to now doing something that's very different. You never really know who is going to show up for you. And so I was really adamant. I just wanted to go out and just try to see where
Yeah.
we could do well. And so we kind of just looked at all of the states where my streaming did really well and stuff like that.
Nice.
And just kind of,
Yeah.
threw it out to the wind. And I mean, I was fully prepared for it to like, if it didn't do as well as I thought it would, like, that's totally fine. I just wanted to see like
Yeah.
if we had any fans out there.
Yeah.
And especially after being in like Europe and stuff and seeing how incredible the fans were out there, I was like, if there are fans out there, there have to be fans in my country,
Right.
surely,
Right.
So yeah, so it was very much a test, but 7 shows, and it's going to be so much fun. It's all a little bit smaller venues. I really wanted to have like a very intimate feel,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Well,
I
you
don't know.
have to start somewhere.
Yeah,
So
for
I mean,
sure.
and like you said, you were in the country world before. Now you're in the pop
Mhm.
punk world. I'm sure you've carried some fans over from the country side over to your
Mhm.
pop punk side, but maybe not all of them because
Yeah,
you know how country fans are. They love their country
yeah,
music, so
they do.
it
They
just
do.
is what it is. But you're also going to be on Riot Fest coming
Hmm.
up,
Yeah.
so that's exciting in Chicago. Do you have any other festivals planned for this year that you
Um,
can speak of yet?
Not for this year.
Oh, I guess not this year, but
Yeah. Oh,
we're
for
coming
like
to an
coming
end.
up.
Yeah.
Uh, I I don't want to say they haven't like I don't know.
Okay. Okay. So yes, you do.
Yes, we have
Okay.
we have a lot of like really awesome touring coming up in the next year, which I'm really excited about. Hopefully, getting to go over to like Australia and getting to go back to Europe and stuff, which will be amazing. Just because I love it so much out there. But yeah, very very exciting. 2024, I think.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
And I know there were some fans that were asking about European tour dates, so they'll be
Hmm.
happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay. One other thing, because it came up last time we were
Hmm.
talking, and there are a few artists out there who have been, solo for a long time that I just can't believe are unsigned. One
Hmm.
band, 408, who you're familiar with, you did
Yeah.
that song, is it Backfired?
Backfired. Yeah.
Okay. So
Hmm.
you guys did that song together. They're one
Hmm.
of the, I feel like they're one of the best pop punk bands right now. I'm
Hmm.
very intrigued with what they're doing. They had been unsigned for a while, and I'm like, why is nobody scooping them up? Finally, they got scooped up by Big Noise.
Hmm.
You're still solo, right?
Hmm. I am. Yeah.
So you're one. Charlotte Sands is one. Like there's so many artists that have been around doing their thing for a minute,
Hmm.
not scooped up yet. So
Hmm.
my question is, and I know you said last time, I'm pretty sure you said last time that you had some interest, or there was some interest, maybe
Hmm.
conversations happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Obviously, nothing's come of those.
Hmm.
So my question is, are you unsigned by design, or are you still keeping your, I don't know, your doors open, I guess?
Uh, I mean, for right now, and I've always kind of felt this way, and like, I just love having the creative freedom to be able to, one, put out the music that I want to put out, be able to work with the people that I want to work with. I feel like that is such an important thing to me, having a community of people who really, really believe in what I'm doing and want to be a part of it. And it's not that I'm anti-label by any means. Like,
Sure.
if there was something that came along and it just felt right, I
Hmm.
would, probably be 110% in. But for right now, I mean, it's just been so fun to be able to like go tour Europe and put out a record and do all of these things and say like, I did that. You know what I mean? It wasn't, the money from a label or, from outside sources. Like, it was earned. I feel like I've am
Yeah.
earning it. And
Right.
so I don't know if that's, I mean, I don't know if that's like how other people feel about, you know, kind of being independent, but I feel like it's something that is really important to me, and making sure that I'm holding myself accountable, and the areas where I can hold myself accountable. And
Absolutely. And I,
yeah,
I feel like you're right on the money, and it's remarkable that you're
thank
able
you.
to do that, especially in this day and age, because a lot of people would say, I think that, there's a lot of music out there nowadays, and it's almost saturated. It's hard to break through the noise. And even like being on a label, you know, they're only going to do so much for you anyway. So for you to be able to do what you're doing on your own, like I said, it's remarkable. I mean,
Thank you.
1.2 million streams on your own. You got a killer fan base clearly, and you have a good team behind you. I mean, you're putting in the work, and you have you to thank for that, So
Yeah.
I
Well, I
don't
will
blame
say
you.
that there are, I mean, I do have some really amazing people that have, you know, stuck
Sure,
through it with me for, you know, a long time. And I would not be able to do it without them. But
sure.
it is really awesome. Like, I remember when we got back from Europe, my bandmates and I, we all just looked at each other and we were like, we just did that. Like, we played some huge festivals, and you know, got to like hang out around people that we could have, we have a guest,
That's fine.
um but you know, we got to, you know, be around people that we admire so much, and you know, live in the same space, and it feels so surreal. And so like coming home and being like, we did that, is just such an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, it's something that I'm going to look back on, you know, 10, 15, 16 years from now and be like, that, you know,
And
I can hang my hat on that.
also the experience that you're getting by doing it on your own too is gotta be unmatched to anything else, because now the next time you do it, it's gonna be better because you're gonna have learned. I'm sure
Oh
you've
yeah,
made mistakes along the way. Everybody does, especially when you're trying to figure it out. So it's
for
only going to get
sure.
more fine tuned, and maybe when a big label comes by to scoop you up and everything sounds good, you're going to have enough experience under your belt. You're going to know what to expect, and you're going to be ready for it.
Yeah. And that was like the biggest thing too, is experience. You know, I don't want to jump into anything and not have any knowledge of what I'm doing. You know,
Right.
I want to experience the hardships. You know,
Right.
my van literally broke down 3 times this last tour. And if I wouldn't have experienced that, I don't think that moving forward, I would know how to handle a situation like that. And it just, like the camaraderie my team has, and just how hard everybody works and how much they want to be a part of it. It's really, really cool.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Awesome.
it's
Awesome.
fun time.
All right. So we've got the EP coming out on September 22nd. Everybody be on the lookout for that. It looks like Famous Last Words is going to be the next single, or maybe.
So I wanted it to be, but
Uh-huh.
We chose Everything Sucks.
Okay.
Just, and I love that song too. I love that song too. We chose that because Famous Last Words was written after we had already finished the EP.
Got you.
And so when we finished that song, I was like, there's no way I'm not putting this on there. You know, it fits so
Uh-huh.
perfectly with everything. And I feel like it just capped it off.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I would have loved for it to be that, but you know, when you already
Hey. Historically speaking, when it comes to hit songs and songs that really hit the fans well, it's always that last minute song that makes an EP or an album. So just saying. So we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, if that song is the one that people gravitate towards, I'll be really happy.
I think it's gonna
I love
be.
that song.
I think it's gonna be. In fact, I know it's gonna be.
Thank
Prove me wrong, everybody. Okay, let's get to some fan questions. We had a number of fan questions. A lot of them were probably answered throughout this. So let me go through here real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna turn
go
turn
ahead.
the light on quick, because I was using like natural light, and now it's just getting
No, it's just getting dark.
darker and darker.
I only see your eyes.
Yeah. People are gonna be like, "What is this girl, a vampire or something? Like sitting in the dark by herself?"
Okay, So, what band do you dream to tour with?
Oh my gosh.
Now, I don't know if that's new band, old band, deceased band. Answer it how you will.
I Oh my gosh, I feel like I have several. I would love to tour with Paramore. I think that that
Ooh.
would be so fun. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I'm like Haley Williams has been such a huge inspiration of mine for a very long time. The band Paris, I think, would be really dope. I love
Yep.
Lynn Gunn. I think she's awesome also. And I really love like female fronted bands. So
Yep.
I think, being on a bill with another like strong female
Yeah.
presence would be really cool.
You know who I think you'd be if we're talking female fronted? Pale Waves.
Yeah, that's another one that I've thought about. I was like, they would be really, really dope.
Especially if you're going overseas. I mean, they'd be perfect.
Yeah, for sure. And I like Against the Current, I think is really cool.
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah. So there's so many. I mean, honestly, I'll take anything that I can get. But if I got
Yeah,
Paramore,
right.
I'd probably like die right on the
Yeah.
spot.
And I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a question about Back to Europe. We already know that. What are some dream collabs that you would love to have happen?
Oh my gosh. Oh. These are always so hard. I think one that I always say because I'm like such a fan of her is Charlotte Sands. I would love. I think that would be so cool. And again, I think there's something that's so powerful about two females in that genre of music doing
Absolutely.
music together. And I feel like it kind of, I mean, it brings like a community of people together. We're not so like, it's not just like one against the other or whatever,
Right.
it's, which I feel like happens a lot. We get compared to Haley Williams or like
Sure.
Avril Lavigne. Like, I think I hear those things more than I'm like, you sound like Taylor Acorn,
Yeah, right.
So I think something like that would be really cool. Dang.
And what would be really sweet about you and Charlotte Sands is two independent women.
Yeah,
She's
that
not
would be
signed
really
either,
dope.
So
That would be really dope.
even cooler.
Oh my. I mean, I would love to do something with Matchbox 20. I think that would be
Ooh.
really cool. Or like the Goo Goo Dolls, like going and kind of doing something that's like more of the 90s vibe. I'd love to do something like that.
For that. All
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. I saw the Goo Goo Dolls like a couple weeks ago. And ever since then, I was like, yeah. I need to try to make that happen before they decide they don't want to tour anymore.
They were my first concert that I went to. I think I was 13, maybe. Yeah. And because at the time, oh God, how old was I? Or what year was it when I was 13? It was probably 1999, I guess, or so. I don't even remember if Dizzy Up the Girl was even out yet. But I know I loved like Long Way Down and Name and Naked. Was definitely a fan of them at that time. But man, I do know they've ever since then, like seeing them live and just A Boy Named Goo and then Dizzy Up the Girl for sure.
Yeah.
I've been fans of theirs ever since. Like
it kind of changes
tops.
you too. I feel honestly like I've changed as a human since I saw them play. Like I feel, I don't know, there's just something about their music that whenever I listen to it, I just feel so like light and free. And I mean, I cried so hard during Black Balloon. I was like, this is just insane.
And his voice, Johnny Resnick's voice is just like no other. And actually that band is like no other, really. Because I mean, they started out as a punk band, punk band.
Yeah.
And now they're just some different thing. Like it's I mean, I don't know what it is. You can't really pigeonhole them, but they have their own, they definitely have their own sound. And no one else is doing it.
Yeah. And so it's just, I don't know, seeing them live was really inspiring. So I would really love to do something with them maybe before they decide they don't want to tour anymore. That would be awesome.
What if you covered Name or Black Balloon?
I've covered Iris. I could probably put it out there again and just be like, hey.
Yeah, there you go.
Notice me.
You know what? I think Mod's son did a cover of Iris and Goo Goo Dolls saw that. And I think they retweeted it too. Dang. So yeah.
All right. I got to do a different song then.
Didn't mean to dampen
I'll do
your
Name.
spirits, but
Name is like one of my favorite
oh my
songs
God,
of all time.
So beautiful.
Oh,
So
and
beautiful.
he sang the first chorus a cappella too, and I was like,
Ugh.
this is just it was amazing.
Yeah, I need to see them live again.
Yeah.
All
It's
right,
good.
thanks for reminding
It's
me.
good.
All right, let me see here. I don't know if we answered this in the last episode we did with you, but what made you want to make the switch from country to pop punk?
Well, I think, at the end of the day, I have always been more of a fan of pop punk music. When I first initially started making music, I was just writing to write. I didn't
Yeah,
necessarily, have an idea of what I wanted to sound like or what I wanted to be, but I did know that like when it comes down to people who influence me, it's people like Pink and people like Kelly Clarkson and people like Amy Lee from Evanescence, probably the most Amy Lee from Evanescence because like they were a band that I listened to constantly growing up. And so I don't know, like when I started doing country and I started, trying to find my footing in that, it just never really felt right. Like I had success and I made some really amazing friends and I have some really incredible fans that have stuck with me from the country days up until now, which is really cool, but it never felt like I was supposed to be there,
sure.
Like I always kind of felt like a little bit of an outcast and I don't know. That's probably like really sad to say, but I felt different
Yeah,
from a lot of the artists that I would write with or, kind of hang out around. And, I would leave my publishing company and I would drive home listening to like the Story So Far or something like that. So it's like, that was my way of just like cleansing myself from
yeah,
being and writing
right.
country all day. And, I just kind of got to a point where I was like, this just isn't me,
Yeah,
And I think I need to at least try to do this if, obviously it's something that I really love. And then that's when I started doing the covers because I was like, well, if I can't make this kind of music, I'm at least going to like make the covers and be able to
yeah,
enjoy it, in
right.
some way, shape, or form. And so once that started happening and people started seeing me in a little bit of a different light, I was kind of like, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be.
I can do
And
this. Yeah.
and it gave me the guts to be able to, start making my own music and start getting a little bit more creative with it. So I don't know. I think, yeah, I've always gravitated more so to the pop rock, pop punk stuff. And it just feels like home to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Well, I can vouch for your answer there because you saying that I remember that's pretty much the exact same thing you told me a year ago. So yes,
Yeah, you're holding me accountable.
yeah, that was my question. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
testing you.
No.
Okay, this would be an easy one. Is your team planning on releasing your EP in physical format, vinyl or CD?
I I would love to do that. I am planning on doing that. It's hard because I feel like I want to release it for this project, but I
Hmm.
also want my first like physical copy to almost be like an album.
Sure, that
So
makes
I've
sense.
kind of been weighing my options as far as that goes. I have, a lot of people have asked for a physical copy, so I might just do it. I don't know. We might decide last minute, like, hell, why not?
Yeah,
But
right.
I think my brain is leaning more towards like an album and like, you know, putting it out in its proper form that way and being able to have, the hard copy for people to
Sure.
listen to. So yeah.
Okay, so what does your writing process look like?
Uh,
I know this could be a long one, I'm sure.
uh,
So here, let me ask you this: does the music usually come first, or does the melody usually come first, or a lyric usually come first?
so I'm definitely like a melody driven writer.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times I'll like, and they come at such random times too. I'll be like sitting in bed or like I'll be having a dream about it and I'll wake up at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh my God,
Oh
I
wow.
have to remember this. And like, I'll like voice record it in my phone. I mean, there's been so many times where Dan and I, especially, we've like wake up and we have texts from each other at like 2 a.m. and they're just like random voice memos of, just like a melody. But yeah, I definitely am like a more melody driven writer. And I love lyrics too, but I am very like drawn to the sound and like the sonics of the music and the production of the music. And so that's kind of, I think,
Yep.
where my strong suit is. But I
So
don't know.
would you say that when you have the melody, you know how that rhythm or cadence goes, then do you fill that in with the lyrics first because you can kind of, based on how a word goes or how the cadence
Yeah.
of that word, do you just kind of fill in that melody and then the music comes, or does the
Yeah.
music come after the melody and then you fill in
I think
afterwards?
majority of the time, I think the music kind of comes as the melody does, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah, they go hand in
When,
hand.
yeah. So when I write, especially with Dan, he is such a talented writer, like both lyrically and
Hmm.
melodically. And so, and he's an amazing producer. So he is like so quick and he can kind of see my vision instantly. And we kind of bounce ideas off of each other. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times they just kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, when I'm by myself, which is something that I've been trying to do a lot more of, is like writing solo again. I feel like I kind of stepped away from that for a while. And I feel like I didn't necessarily lose my ability to do it, but I definitely wanted to like get back to that again.
Yeah.
So I've been, just like playing little riffs and stuff on the guitar and like trying to come up with little melodies that way. But I prefer like music and melody to kind of be, aligned
Yeah.
and
Right. That
kind of be
makes
the
that makes
same.
total
Yeah.
sense to me. So, tips for pursuing a creative career in music. I think you are a good person to ask since you're staying independent at the moment, or have been independent for so long, I guess I should say.
First tip, save your money.
Yes.
Save your money because music is, as much as I love it, it's very expensive, especially like doing it at a quality that, you want. It does get a little bit pricey. So definitely save money and work hard. I mean, there's so many people in the music industry, it seems, but and also too, just like when you write, be honest and speak from the heart. And I feel like that's what connects most with fans. And oh my gosh, there's so many things. Yeah, but mostly just like put time in and make it a priority if it's something that you really, really want to do and it's something that you really, really love. I mean, chase your dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. You only get one life, so just
Yeah.
do what it is that you're wanting to do. And I
Yeah.
would say too, depending on what it is, like if you're wanting to be a songwriter or whatever, start
Mm.
writing. Just
Yeah.
begin doing it. Your
Yeah.
songs will suck at first. They
Hmm.
really, truly will, but they will get better as you learn what to do and what works and that
For
sort of
sure.
thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've written so many bad songs in my lifetime. So,
I'm sure because I mean, you don't just start out being good. Like
yeah.
it just
No.
just just trust Taylor on this one. Um, okay, so the last one, and I feel like this is a good one to kind of end on. It's not even a question. It says, "No question. I wanted to say that your music has helped me more than I can say." So I guess I do have a question. How does that make you feel? Because that there's not just one person that feels that way. Not
Yeah.
with 1.2 million monthly listeners. They're listening for a reason, And you do speak a lot of truth. There's a lot of hurt in some of those songs and a lot of pain. So how does that make you feel when somebody says that they get so much out of your music more than you'll ever know?
I feel like it's so hard to really be able to wrap, my thoughts around how I feel about that. It's because a lot of the times, when I am writing, I'm writing from my own personal experience. It's like my diary.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times I write because I feel alone in what I'm going through. And being able to put it on paper and to be able to put it out kind of alleviates that for me. It's like therapy. And so when somebody comes to me and they say something like that, it makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? And
Right. Yeah.
I love people and I love connecting with people, and I am such an emotional person too. So to be able to connect with somebody on an emotional level like that, it just makes me feel so good, and it makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's helping people get through the hard shit. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Absolutely. We all go through
No,
it, and
yeah,
a little help along the way is much appreciated.
for sure, for sure.
So, well, Taylor, that's an amazing answer. And I
Well,
think
thank
that
you.
this is a good place to kind of land this thing. Is there anything that maybe we didn't talk about? I know we talked about a lot that we didn't talk about that you want to mention, or maybe if
Ah,
not, share the things where we can follow you and all that good stuff.
yeah, I feel like we've covered so many bases
So many
today. We
bases.
really did.
I mean, workouts, music. You got
I
emotional there towards the end.
Yeah, I died. I died a little bit when I saw the picture of my abs up there. I was like, oh no,
That's
here we
that's
go.
going to be the cover photo of this
No,
of this post.
no,
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 I
no.
won't. I won't do that to you.
No, I feel like, yeah, this was awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Also,
Absolutely,
by the way, it's
absolutely.
always so much fun. But yeah, EP coming out next Friday, which is crazy. Tour coming up. If you're listening to this and you're coming to the tour, thank you so much. I cannot wait to see you guys. It's going to be so much fun. But yeah, lots of music to come, lots more shows to come. And I think it's going to be a really good year.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor. Thanks again for coming on. It's always a blast with you. Like I said before, like you are one of my favorite artists right now doing their thing. So I just keep doing you. And like I said, I think you're going to get this momentum here.
Thank you.
You're going to go places. I know you are. So I'm going to go do some ab workouts now. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh gosh, don't feel bad.
Oh, I don't feel bad, but that picture was a little motivation is all I could say.
Ay, ay, ay.
All right.
Well, that's good. See, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're inspiring people and you're helping people through the hard shit.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor. Hey, I appreciate it. You have a good rest of the night.
Thank you so much. You too.